Welcome back to the ND Free Podcast, brought to you by the Awareness Space Podcast Network. This is a podcast all about neurodivergence and is powered by you, the listener. We answer, discuss, and expand on your questions. Myself, Owen Morgan, and my team of co-hosts dive into all things ADHD, autism, and other neurotypes. We believe all NDers deserve to live a life free of the shame we may feel, free from the burden of trying to fit in, and free from the burnout caused from not honouring our needs. We are ND and Free. So we are back with another ND and Free show podcast episode. Today we have a Q&A episode where we unpack questions brought to us by our listeners. Alongside me, Owen Morgan, I have my wonderful co-host, social media influencer Dan Katona, and ND podcast host Darren Cammock. Welcome back, boys. In our real life timeline, we just recorded, so this is weird to say. Haven't seen for a while. But for the audience, it's been a good week or so since the last episode. Go back and listen to it. It's all about RSD. It was so beautiful and emotional and powerful and informative. I'm so proud of us. I think it was really authentic and real. And I thank you both for that. So, Darren, since I saw you about 10 seconds ago, how are you feeling?
Hey, a lot can change in 10 seconds. Yeah, I'm good. I'm very well, thank you.
Good. And Dan, how have you been today?
Do you know, I'm feeling quite like a big dog, sort of like a tribal chief right now.
All right, good reference. We're not going to tell you what that reference is. Go back and listen to the quiz of the last episode. He's a tribal chief. I'm a big dog. And what should we? What kind of wrestler is Darren like, Dan? I'm trying to think. He could be. What's Sheamus's nickname? He could be a Sheamus.
Yeah.
Hardcore brawler. Yeah, I like that. We'll just call you Sheamus for now. Anyway, too much very niche knowledge there of WWE. So yeah, go back and check that out. And there will be a quiz at the end of today's episode too, and it will all be about cakes and baking. So a complete change in topic, but it should be quite interesting. All right, guys, so we are back. We're looking for questions from our listeners. So let's scroll on down here on my notes and dive in. So if you want to send us your questions, you can do via social media DMs, or you can email us or email me at ndandfree@gmail.com. Link that's in the description as well if you want to know how to spell all of that, but please, we'd love to answer your questions. We're so grateful to everybody today for sending things through. It's really important that you get a voice in these things. All right, boys, let's jump in. So our first question is from Gabby on TikTok. I quite like this one. I thought it was a good place to start. What is one positive aspect of your ND? I'm trying to meet mine with more positive regard. This is really beautiful. So, a lot of us need to be on this journey of how can we, on some level, make peace and see the good somehow in our neurotypes. It sounds crazy to say, but a lot of us do struggle with that. So one positive aspect. So yeah, really lovely. So Darren, what would you say is like a positive? Please don't use the word superpower unless that's something you like, because we're not really superpower people. But what is one positive aspect of your ND, I guess, if you can see it that way?
I got to be honest, I am on that journey to find something positive with mine. I think it's very important for people to view things individually, personally, for yourself, as opposed to blanket everybody. So no, I don't think it's sort of big or superpower or anything like that overall. For me, I can't find anything positive in what I go through. There are things that have happened, but because of the negativity. So for instance, I do a podcast, which is a positive thing. However, I'm doing it for therapy for me, and I'd rather not need therapy, and I now started up an ADHD peer-to-peer support group. Again, a huge positive thing, but it comes from a negative. So yeah, I'm not positive in any way regarding my own neurodivergence. So I am on that journey with a lot of people to try and really, really be positive about something, about what all this is for me. I can say positive things, but whether I mean it or not is a different thing. So I'm on that journey to really work that out. So,
But do you have positives about yourself that may not be obviously linked to a neurotype part of your brain structure? But do you have positive regards to just who you are? If that makes sense. I'm just checking in to be sure.
yeah, yeah. Just to clarify, I'm okay. All right, just I just want to say that. Yeah, I mean, I have positive things about me now. Whether I don't know if it's related to my ADHD or not. I haven't got a clue. I know I'm a good husband. You know, but I say whether that's directly linked to the ADHD, I don't know. It's hard to split them up because for me, how I look at it, I am ADHD. My personality and stuff like that, how I come across and all that is all ADHD. But yeah, I do positive things. But I hate the fact that I have to struggle all the time to get to do things. But like I said, I am on that journey with a lot of other people because I want to find positive things, and I think we should. I have a son. He's ADHD. He's autistic. I don't want him having my mindset and my struggle. So I want him to be positive about everything that he is, and I think it's really important that we strive for that. It is important to strive for that, if nothing else, for our own mental health. But I am still not being honest and open. I am, I'm still on that journey to, get there for myself personally about my personal ADHD, not anyone else's, mine. I am massively positive for my son, because I want him to be positive about everything that he's going through and how to flip things around and make everything positive, because I don't want him thinking, or reliving my life for me. So.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all that. It's really, really powerful. And I think we will cover a whole topic episode on, density and what are we all neurodivergent within us, or is there other aspects of our brain? I know it's a fascinating topic. We will cover it in much more depth. I think it's very, very interesting about how we connect to our own existence. I know it's a bit meta and everything, but yeah, it'll be very, very powerful. So thanks, Darren. That's great. So Dan, for you, as part of positive aspects for your ND, where do you sit on all of this? And, is it all of who you are? And just touch on what we were just talking about there.
So first of all, I think I just want to say this question being asked in general really sort of already opened my eyes, and Darren, your answer as well really opened my eyes, because I took a very sort of different approach as, sort of started looking into it. I started looking into sort of, when I first discovered I may be autistic and ADHD, sort of looking into the positives as well as the not so positives. And even then, I'm calling them not so positives rather than negatives. And it was very important for me to sort of try and do that. So, but again, black and white thinking, I just assumed that sort of everyone. So it's actually really, thank you, Darren, for sort of sharing that, because it has helped me to realize that not everyone has viewed it how I viewed it. I've got loads of positives that I could say about autism and ADHD. I'll just choose one of each very briefly, if you allow me. With the autism, I think I can be very analytical, very logical with things, and I can just sort of almost, in a way, sort of remove emotion from situations, which don't get me wrong, it's not always good, because sometimes I can sort of seem a bit emotionless, but a lot of times, especially in situations that I need to work something out with my autism, I'm able to just sort of strip everything back and just be very practical, very this and this. This is how I approach it, and sort of it's really helps with a lot of my problem solving. With my ADHD, if there's a really sort of stressful or crisis situation, I'm the person you want by your side. If there's some big crisis, some really high stress situation going on, my brain will just go, and that's when I'm thriving. So I can then, something terrible is going to get someone with ADHD on your side, because they are the people you want in a high stress situation, because that is where we function best, and that is where we are going to take control, listen to us, because that's where we thrive. And I really do see that as positive, because life is stressful. There are countless stressful situations in life. And what is stressful to one person may not be stressful to another. So I'm not talking about sort of like the worst of the worst, even. I'm not saying, terrible catastrophes, even though that isn't something we be good at. But yeah, if there's stressful situations, tag me in. You want me on your side with that. So I think, with the autism, I can approach things very analytically and very logically, and this and this order. This is the way we're structuring this, and we're going to do this, and this is how it's going to work, and then that problem is solved, or that issue is done. That is done. And with the ADHD, wicked. There's this really high stress situation going on. Just leave me. Do you know what? Just get away from me. Let me deal with it, because you're probably just going to get in my way. I'll be able to deal with it. I'll be able to deal with it calm. I'll be fine. So those are two positives. I'd definitely say that my neurodivergence, sort of, that helped me in a lot of situations.
Yeah, thanks so much. I think. Oh yeah, sorry, Darren. Situational as well. Yeah, your aspects of your neurotype can become a benefit somehow in certain situations. I think that's a really important message, actually. Environmental, depending on what environments you're in. So maybe it opens up an opportunity to look at different environments you can allow yourself into, to see if you can lean more into your hyper focus and things like that, and use it in a way that's more helpful to yourself. But you need to get out there and look up those things. Sorry, Darren, back to you.
That's why I think it's got to be so personal about how you view it. Like yourself, Dan. I know from previous experience that in that sort of that kind of like life and day, the first day, kind of those kind of situations, I am calm. I've said to my wife, said other people, that I would make I think I would make a great paramedic. But I'm in my mid-50s and I'm not going to be a paramedic. Therefore, that's irrelevant. If I was a paramedic, I will be telling you how great that is and how it has helped me. But because I'm not, that situation doesn't really come around for me that often anymore. So again, so I haven't got that positive anymore about it, because it doesn't really happen. But yeah, like I said, the big stressful catastrophes kind of thing. Yeah. I'm no good below that, though. Take me to the office by the boss, and the boss is going to give me a grilling. I am in pieces. If then the roof falls down on him, I'm the man. Fine, no problem at all. I'm now in charge. But anything below that kind of real high stress, I am useless. So sorry, I butted in there that time.
No. That's great. That was a great back up to previous points, which is key. So yeah, thank you guys. And for me, it would be just quickly, it would just probably be this passionate side. I'm very passionate about things. My special interests and my hyper focuses and stuff. When I'm invested, I'm really invested, and I think that lends to being a good person to be around. And my life feels very full and rich, because of those special interests. So I think that would be, a key thing for me. These things like the podcast wouldn't exist if I didn't have this insane special interest in all of these topics, and hosting and editing and all that. Means I have something good in my life in that way. So that's good. But sometimes it will burn me out and exhaust me and make me sick, and because I've just overdone it. So it's just, it's just finding that sweet spot, which I think is ND in a nutshell. It's trying to find a way to balance everything. And that takes a lot of our energy up. So yeah, thanks so much, Gabby. That was great. Really, really lovely question. All right, guys, we have Laura from Instagram. I feel like there are more diagnoses, e.g. dyslexia, ASD, alongside my ADHD, but not sure if getting more assessments will help me in my life. What would you do? This is a good one because I think quite commonly you're going to have more than one in inverted commas. I think it's very, very common. So, you know, you go for this big journey for the one you've just got, you know, this big thing, this build up, your truth, the regretting for what you haven't done, grateful for what you have. What does this mean now? I have to do that all again? Does it look different? Or is it the same journey? Is it just another thing on the list? Is that how you feel about it? Or could it be really, really powerful? This is me. I could probably go for a few of these, a few assessments, see what I can get. And who knows? I'm joking, but I mean it. So if ASD, I would really love to do an assessment and just see. I think it would be worth it. And dyslexia, I really struggle with a lot of things linked to words and processing information. So that could be useful too. But where do you guys sit? So Dan, where do you sit on this? Obviously, you've got ADHD, but have you ever thought about other things like dyspraxia, dyslexia, or anything like that? Or are you kind of like, you're done?
So,
you know what I mean?
yeah, as a child, I was actually told that I was dyslexic, so I wasn't officially diagnosed, but I was told by the school that I was likely dyslexic. But nothing ever really came of it. No official assessments or anything like that. And then I've come to learn that a lot of the time when people are told they may be dyslexic, it's actually ADHD. And it's the retaining the information, having to reread the same line over and over again. And then but then you get so stressed that the words do get muddled up because you're so stressed. So it's very hard. But so obviously, yes, I've got an official diagnosis of severe combined ADHD, and I've got my autism diagnosis. For me, I wanted to know. I'm one of those people. I have to know so that I've got all the information. I don't think that is for everyone, though. ADHD, I think if you're going to get assessed for anything, ADHD is the one, personally, that I think you should go for if you believe you are ADHD, because that is the one that if you want treatment, if you want medication, then that is the one that obviously can be medicated for, and that you can receive that sort of extra help with. I think it's so individualized with other neurotypes, because especially as you get older, if you're late diagnosed, there is a lot of, okay, I've got this official, like with my autism diagnosis, okay, I've got this diagnosis, but other than now saying that I'm autistic, and that there's not really anywhere to go from there in a lot of people's eyes. Now, like I said, for me personally, it answers a lot of questions that I had about myself. It gives me more answers. I now understand myself better. And I'm one of those people that it wasn't so much about, okay, find out so I can access the right types of therapy, and so I can do this. And so, even though it's true, if I decided to go through therapy again, which I've been through therapy before, I now know that there are certain types of therapy that would benefit me better because of my neurotype. But for some people, I don't think it's worth it, because I think it could just be an extra bit of, an extra sort of stress in their mind. Oh, now I know that there's this as well. And a lot of people do have that thing of, well, what's the point of, being on a waiting list and going through this assessment, and then what? So I really think it's one of those things you have to think about for yourself. Is it important to you to find out, and why? Why is it important for you to find out? Do you want to know so that you have more answers, that you now understand yourself better? Because if so, definitely. If you're going for it just because someone said it, and you go, oh, maybe I should, but you don't feel that it's going to help you in any meaningful way understand yourself, or give you any answers, then I think the whole process could actually be a bit more detrimental, because it can be quite stressful. So, not really an answer, but an answer. So, that is so individualized. very beneficial to me. It was very important for me, may not for other people.
Yeah, thank you. We can't really give, yeah, it's a tricky one. We can't really give an answer anyway, but sharing, yeah, how we see it. I'm hoping it might help Laura a little bit, just to understand more, because it is what the why, isn't it? The why, what does it mean? How does life look if you had the diagnosis, the label, the title, whatever you want to call it? How does that look? Is it going to help you, especially in business, in work? Might be useful for them to know. It's worth it, right? So it all depends, doesn't it? So Darren, how about yourself? Because obviously, you and me are, the ADHDers, I guess, of the group in isolation. But I am very curious about ASD for me. But where do you sit on all this? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, my head's all over the place with this, to be honest with you. It depends. If I'm looking at myself, I went for assessment for ASD to begin with. They said no, there's traits, but we see a lot of ADHD. And then I went off to a different place and I got assessed for ADHD. Now, I think if I look back to all the answers I gave for that original assessment, I didn't know myself very well and things like that. I think if I was going to go through another assessment for an autism assessment, my answer would be more in depth, some a little bit different, but a lot more in depth. Like, do you have routines and stuff like that? I was like, no, I mean, I do this and I do that. No, I have a lot of routines, I know. Okay. But I didn't realize at the time and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying that if I had it again, then I will be diagnosed. I just know my answer would be different. But someone asked me if I would go for it again. I'm like, well, what's it going to bring to the table? Okay. The way I see it for myself is I'm ADHD. I've got my medication and all these things here. This is what I struggle with. Now, whether that's all related to ADHD or not, for me, is irrelevant. If someone wants to give me loads of assessments for free, yeah, fine. But I don't need to know the diagnosis enough to join a waiting list or pay lots of money, or it's not I don't feel it's going to bring anything to me in my situation in my life now, because I see it as I'm ADHD, I've got my meds, this is what I struggle with, and these are all the things I'm going to try and put in place to help myself. That's it. That's me personally. I think everyone has the God-given right to know everything about themselves medically. So they should ask questions if they want, they should, if they want to, they're entitled to. Absolutely. But like I said, what's it going to bring? It does bring a lot of stress, when you're thinking about, I could have this diagnosis, I might not. What does it mean if I do or not? And, you got to wait. And it's all this, there's a lot of stress that comes with it. Is it worth it for yourself? Is it going to bring anything to the table? Is it going to change your life? ADHD, if you are looking at medication, yeah, get assessed and get diagnosed and go down a medication route, because it can make a massive difference. Not for everyone, but it can. But if you are in your situation that you're in, if you think, okay, maybe I am autistic, or maybe I am ADHD or dyspraxic or whatever, if there are things, if you do your research, and if that's your kind of personality, that you're gonna deep dive this and have research, what can I do to help myself? If you're putting those things into place and it's helping you and your life is better, there we go. I guess that's all we want, really, to be fair. But I guess it all depends on the situation, because
I just want to add.
You don't go for it.
I just want to add to that essentially, it comes along to sort of self-diagnosis. There's a whole big thing of, is self-diagnosis as valid as a real a real sort of clinical diagnosis? I think it is, especially when it comes to autism, dyslexia, anything like that. I think it's a lot of most neurotypical people aren't going to spend months and months and months researching as to whether they're neurotypical or neurodivergent. It doesn't happen. They're not going to deep dive. They're not going to sit there and wonder and stress and analyze. And so I think if we get to that point, it's a good, it's a very good chance. I think, but like, yeah, along with what you're saying, if you're doing all this research and you're looking into what's going to help, that's a self-diagnosis. Most clinical diagnoses come from a self-diagnosis anyway. If you're happy and content with with being self-diagnosed, someone comes to me and says they're autistic, and I'm like, "Oh, have you been clinically diagnosed?" No, I'm not going to say that they're not autistic. If that's how they want to refer to themselves, and they've done that, that's yeah. So I think that's the other thing as well. If you don't want to get diagnosed, or you're looking at possibly doing it, or you're happy with the self-diagnosis and you accept yourself with that, then do that.
Yeah, I think it's element taking care of ourselves, like Darren was talking about there. And if you are doing that with research, you're already probably halfway there, and you're going to learn a lot on that journey and put things in place. And suddenly life becomes a little bit easier, and you're like, "All right, cool. That's easy. I'm really glad that I'm putting all these compassionate behaviors and tasks and activities to help myself." So it's a weird one, isn't it? I think it does really come down to how are you going to use it in a social situation or in a workplace or a career or in studying. I think that's the key thing, really. If it's actually going to actively get you somewhere that you can't get to without it, obviously you're going to want to get it, aren't you? If you know what I mean, Darren.
Yeah, I think a lot of how we view it comes down to the state of the nation, so to speak, as it is. Now, I mean, at the beginning of my journey, my thought process completely changed since. But beginning of the journey, I was very much no, you shouldn't self-diagnose, because I'm coming from my background of being qualified personal trainer and stuff like that. I hate it when people like ignore what I've got to say and they just train themselves because they read a magazine. Like, no, listen to the qualified people. That was my sort of how I sort of looked at it. But when you put everything else in place, right? Like, the waiting list, the lack of any sort of help, guidance and stuff like that. Before you even speak to someone about something, you got to wait 6 months to a year. And it's yeah. What else are you going to do? Right. If you've got a real bad knee problem or back problem or hip problem, and you can't get to speak to anyone about it for the next, year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, you will end up doing things to help yourself. You will end up doing sort of research. You'll end up doing some work. You will, you don't, know exactly what's going on, but you've got a problem, and you're going to put things into place. And that's, and that's all we're doing. Okay. So self-diagnosis in an ideal world where you can say, I think I might have ADHD or autism, and you get referred, and 2 weeks later you get an assessment and diagnosis. Right. No, you should not self-diagnose. But that does not happen. It does not happen, So you people are going to, because you've got nothing else. We have to. And it is valid, because you can't just turn around and say, well, no, you're not. You are neurotypical and you don't have any problems or struggles because you're not diagnosed. Everything's fine in your life. You can't say that to someone. They're struggling, no matter what it is. We don't have that luxury. So we are left to it. It's like saying, should we go into social media to find out information about our diagnosis? No, we shouldn't. But what else have we got?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
As much as I am big on, you've got to follow the science. I'm on social media a lot,
Yeah.
It's because of the situation. You got to make do with the situation, and then it shapes your life and how you do things and how you get your knowledge and stuff like that. And it is what it is. And it is real, and people, you can't fault people for trying to work out their life and why they struggle and put things into place. Crikey, yeah. People have got to survive. people need to survive longer. You know what I'm saying? And you can't do that if you're just waiting to get help. So yeah, it absolutely is valid.
Yeah, thank you. I think you're right. The state of the industry in the world, or whatever word you want to use for all this, you're right. Plays into all of this. A lot of it is very circumstantial to the support or lack of support we have. And like you've both said, as well, with ADHD, there's a clearer pathway. It's much more talked about. It's much more researched. There's medication. There's ADHD coaching, which is just very prevalent. There's not much autistic coaching out there happening right now. So you're needing all of that to catch up, to really know which one do I want first. But I think the most important thing is that most of these, if it's private especially, you can get a pre-screening. I think that's a really important thing to know, that if I'm doing it private like I do, like Alice on the other show, she's an assessor. So she assesses for ADHD and autism. So she's our main partner. So anybody listening, go and check out Bold Minds ND. Alice does assessments there. So she has got a direct link to this show. Very, very grateful to have her. And she does a pre-screening. So I can go for a pre-screening for ASD. We will do all of that and we'll see if there's even a chance. That's going to save me a lot of time and a lot of money because I'd be doing it privately. It's going to save me over £2,000, right? To have the screening. So maybe look around, see if there's dyslexic screenings, see if there's screenings for dyspraxia, or you are probably going to have to pay for it if you want it quickly, obviously. And I don't even know if the NHS would do screenings. You're just on the list and then you're going for assessment. That's great. But I don't know. I think pre-screenings are quite powerful. And it can give you a lot of clarity. And maybe stuff will come up. Oh, you've had a lot of trauma in your life. You've got a lot of micro traumas, big traumas. There could be some PTSD happening here. And you wouldn't know that unless you actually did your research, had a screening. So maybe the assessment can open up other doors as well. But it's all different if you're private. I did it privately. I wanted to know. A couple of weeks later, I was booked in. It was a whirlwind. It was very fast. Very, very fast. So I would say I had, oh, well, you're lucky you had the money. No, my parents paid for it. I'm in my 40s. The bank of mum and dad got that covered. Do you know what I mean? I would have waited bloody years, to even save the money. So you are circumstantial as well. Yeah. So we can access to. But we'll wrap that up there. But I think look for stuff that has pre-screenings. Maybe that'd be useful, Laura. And then you move to get that extra level of you've done your social media, you've read the books, this is the podcasts. Oh, the screenings, cool, with an expert, awesome. Maybe that's the next phase. See if you want to find out more about yourself. So amazing stuff. That was a whole episode there, guys. That was a very big topic. We will put it on the list. Yeah. Right, our last question today, guys. Shaun from TikTok. So my biggest struggle that impacts my life is my anger. We haven't talked about this much. It comes when I get overwhelmed. How do you guys experience this if you do? And what do you do to help yourself? Right, this is a whole bloody episode as well. But I think this is a big thing in the end for ND is that you have these initial sensations. I have this initial sensations that happen to us. The overstimulation, your body's wired, it's full of stress hormone. And you're much quicker to snap, much quicker to bite. And that can really impact your self-worth, how you feel about yourself. You don't want to be an angry person. You don't want to be a rude person. That's not your values. And it's devastating. And we talked about self-worth in our last episode. It can strip away how you feel about yourself. So this isn't some little thing. It's a big thing. So Dan, where do you sit on this part of it? Do you experience anger? How do you think it's linked to all of this and how we feel about ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was the angry kid. We got into anger management, and growing up and all throughout my life, I've struggled with anger. I struggled to understand what anger was, and what I mean by that is that it's an emotion. It's just as valid as any other emotion. And as soon as I realized that, and again, you sort of know it's a theme, the way I talk about everything is all about acceptance and self-acceptance. Now, this isn't going to suddenly stop outbursts and stuff like that. But I learned that as soon as I understood that anger is a valid and acceptable emotion that actually helps stop so many outbursts. And I'm not saying I don't still have outbursts, don't say I don't still snap. That still happens, but really accept it. Going from I shouldn't feel angry, anger's got such a negative connotation to it, but it's something that we all feel, and that we're allowed to feel it. And I think as soon as you can accept that, that's half the battle, because then you can, okay, look, I feel really angry right now. I'm allowing myself to feel angry, because you're not trying to suppress it. I feel like it's, you're trying to put a lid on this boiling pot, and that pressure is going to build up and build up because you're trying to push this lid down, and that pressure is going to build, and it's going to blow. You just take the lid off and go, okay, cool. I'm feeling angry right now. And I feel like sometimes I'll say it out loud. I'm really angry right now, even if it's just to myself. And that just, I feel like it doesn't stop me from feeling anger, but it stops me from feeling the guilt associated with anger, which helps. And I have found it also stops me from exploding as much as I used to. I used to be very, very volatile. And I'm not now, and I'm a lot calmer. And yeah, I can just, I can name it. It's naming the emotion. And, there's a lot to naming emotions, whether, when you're feeling low, if you're feeling sad, feeling happy, depressed, feeling anxious. There's so much talk about naming your emotions, and feeling anger. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to feel guilty about. There's nothing wrong with you. It is a perfectly valid emotion and a perfectly valid reaction. It's what you do with that anger, like with anything. And I do really feel that naming it and accepting it and validating, I feel angry right now, and you know what? I'm allowed to feel angry. Not just at this given situation that has caused the anger, but in general, I am allowed to feel anger. I'm allowed to feel any of my emotions that I feel. And no one can make me feel guilty for feeling these emotions that I feel. So as soon as I learned to accept that, and accept that anger is a normal thing that every person on the planet is going to feel and experience many times over, and that I should stop feeling it. And if anyone tries to make me feel guilty for feeling the emotion of anger, that's a them problem. That's not a me problem. Then cool, you feel guilty about your anger if you want, but I'm not going to feel guilty about mine. And that has prevented so many explosions, so many volatile things that could have turned into a very volatile situation simply by naming it and allowing it. So that would be sort of my say on that.
Yeah, thank you, man. I think it's important to name and honor and accept and allow feelings to be there. That's the classic line, and it's extremely, extremely true. And we don't live in any of our emotions what's the right wording? We don't live the same emotion for 20 years, do we? We don't spend every waking moment of our existence feeling that the same emotion the whole time. They come and go. That's the nature of them. It's how we interact with them which decides whether they stick around or not. If it's depression, anxiety, these things do stick around. Obviously, we can be, anxious all day. I think that's slightly different to what I'm talking about, which is we wake up sad and then we're sad for 10 years. You're going to have a moment, a glimmer of joy somewhere, hopefully, in there. Yeah. So it's just acknowledging that I don't wake up angry and, oh, God, got to get up now. Oh, screw you, breakfast. It's not a way we live, is it? It's something that comes up in reaction to something, whether it's true, correct, or warranted, or whatever. That's the first part to experience. But anyway, I want Shaun to understand that obviously this is a big part of feeling things intensely, is a big part of neurodivergence. So it's easy to say all these things, but when you feel it, it's really, really hard to deal with, and it makes you feel kind of shit about yourself as well, I suppose, if that's how you've met it. So Darren, what are your thoughts here? I've got a few more thoughts, but I'll do that in a second. But yeah, what are your thoughts in regards to that?
Same as Dan, really. It absolutely is relevant, and you got the right to feel angry, because it's just life is life, and you got a right to feel happy and sad and all the rest as well. But I think knowing why you're angry, so having the knowledge, understanding why you're angry. I think the only concern is the actions from it. So that's the concern, not the feeling. So you can feel angry, absolutely, but it's about how you direct it. But I think if you understand why you're feeling angry, be it because that person's done this, be it because my I really struggle with my emotional dysregulation because my neurodivergent condition. Okay, or it's a combination, or it's because I've been stressed at work, or if you know about it and why it's manifested, you're in a better position to start doing things to, one, cope when it happens, and to minimize it from happening in the first place by putting things into place to stop that other situation from happening, or to be prepared. For my example, I am inattentive, ADHD. Everything I kept in my life has always been internal. I don't really have these ADHD outbursts in that respect that a lot of people talk about. They get angry really, and it's like, no, that's never been me. There are certain things that will fire me off, but they're very few and far between. So that's never been something in my life. However, I didn't realize how overwhelmed and overstimulated I can get until I had a child. And I found that my agitation, my frustration couldn't be held in. It was all coming out. And I did not understand, just before the diagnosis and all that, did not understand, because that wasn't me. It wasn't me. I was just so all the time. And if I didn't go for an assessment and didn't do the research and stuff, yeah, I think our life would have been pretty crap. Got to be honest. But because went that way, and I realized that the knowledge and medication for me really, really helped. This is the biggest thing medication helped me with. Now, as far as I'm aware, stimulant medication doesn't help directly with emotional dysregulation, but as a byproduct of, I think, a byproduct of me feeling my head is clearer, I am calmer, my what would I say? My fuse is a lot longer. But I can't just leave it there. I still know if I let it go on, it's going to happen. But because it's longer, I now have time to put things into place. I have time to okay, this is the situation. Yeah, I need to make sure that I don't push it too much. Otherwise, I'm going to get a lot of pushback. I know that's going to trigger me. So I can start thinking a bit more clearly about it to stop that big frustration and argumentative come out. So yeah, I don't really know where I was going with that, but so those are the things. Those are things that really, really helped me. So the knowledge, the medication has helped me. I know that because when I haven't had the medication, it all comes back again. But helped with the strategies I've put into place. But I am struggling. So yeah. So just like you said, Dan, because I don't waffle at all. Yeah, the knowledge and putting things into place is a key thing, and understanding why it's all manifested. Yeah, I'll shut up now, I think.
Yeah, thank you both. I think to wrap all of that up, this podcast is sponsored by Bird's Eye Potato Waffles. I'm going to keep making the same joke every time. Is Shaun, the key thing to think about is these extreme versions of anger, I suppose. They often don't come out of nowhere. I think they would if your child's in danger, right? From somebody, you're straight to that highest emotion. You're in protective mode. It's how we're built from day one. which is awesome. That means we protect our family. That's fantastic stuff. And in emergencies, that becomes very useful. But I think to jump from parasympathetic, ventral vagal calmness to hardcore anger is very unlikely jump generally, even with the intensity of neurodivergence. I don't know. I wasn't making this stuff up, but I know it's for me, it's a build up. And if you can get enough self-awareness going, understand your body well enough, doing all of that work, you'll see it. It's coming. As soon as you start getting agitated, it's going to lead to you saying things that, you know, you don't really like to say, makes you feel bad about yourself, or act in a way that you shouldn't with your behaviors, or lead to addiction or whatever it may be. It's like, notice it. Okay, so overstimulation kicks in first for me. Then it's a bit of agitation. I start to notice I get irritated by sounds and people's behavior and the way they're moving. I'm like, oh, stop chewing. I don't usually have a problem with chewing. And I'm like, fire alarm. So rather than start fighting the fire later, getting the extinguishers out, it's like, oh, the alarm's going off. Awesome. All right, fire procedure. Here we go, babies. Let's get to the evacuation point. Basically by myself, and get some sensory tools going. And it stops it in its tracks. I think it's just how your day looks. What are you doing? Are you sleeping well? Are you eating well? Are you putting enough solitary breaks in? Are you doing enough for your special interests? All of these things to help your nervous system so you don't even get to that place. I think that would be my message, is look at your day first before dealing with these moments of anger. It's like, what got you there? What's freaked your system out, you know? And that can really help. And without being too political, you know, the percentage of neurodivergence in the prison system is depressingly high. And there's going to be reasons for that, isn't it? About where this leads us in the end. If we're undiagnosed and we don't understand our behavior, what this leads to is really, really sad. So anything we can do to do compassionate self-awareness work, we got to do it, man. It's so important. So I just wanted to end on that, because we're beautiful human beings and we're doing our best. So if we can just meet ourselves with love and compassion, it'll give us a chance. So hopefully that is helpful, Shaun. It's a big topic, a bit complicated as well, but hopefully we did a good job for you. So thank you so much for sending that in. So thank you, everybody, for sending us all your questions. We look forward to answering some more of these in the future. If there are questions that you really want to direct towards Alice and Philippa, or questions to Dan and Darren, let us know. If you're a guy in this scenario with the anger and you want to talk to guys about it, let us know, because then I'll know where to put it. I don't want to keep asking the same questions to both teams. So if you want to learn about perimenopause, for example, send it to the girls.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, or to us. We'll give it a go. Give it a go. But I'm sure people get what I'm saying. So yeah, maybe at the end of your question, say, for the boys, for the girls. And that'd be really, really lovely. But yeah, if you want to send your questions to us, you can do that on DMs on social media, or email me at ndandfree@gmail.com. After the break, we will finish up with a special interest quiz. So we're going to go from these serious topics to talking about cakes. We'll see you after the break. Okay, welcome back. It's time for our end of show quiz, just to lighten things up and send you all on your way with a bit of fun and spirit in your step, whatever the hell that means. I'm losing the plot, guys. ADHD Live. So we have 4 questions here. We've been doing this for a little while now, 3 episodes. So the co-hosts go at it, and it's multiple choice, so you can play along at home. The current record, sorry, Darren, I'm not doing it to upset you, but it's 7 to Dan and then 2 to Darren, so he will have his day. He will return and take him down. But today we are looking at cakes, but cakes and bakes. This was sent to us by Jane. Thanks so much, Jane. This is your special interest, which I love. I wish I should give it a go. I think baking and cooking, things like that, would be so incredible, wouldn't it? I mean, how amazing, from start to finish, create something beautiful that you can eat. Oh, it's the best. But it's all about timing, I suppose. So, guys, let's see your cake and knowledge. Let's do this. Your first question is, what was voted the number 1 cake/bake in the Good Homes magazine of 2022? Niche. What was the number 1 cake? So was it Victoria Sponge, chocolate brownie, or lemon drizzle cake? What got the most votes? So it's Victoria Sponge, chocolate brownie, lemon drizzle cake. Put your guesses in, please.
I reckon Victoria Sponge. I think that's quite a classic. Most people like it. However, the chocolate brownie and the lemon drizzle would be my votes for me. Absolutely.
So what is your answer?
Victoria Sponge. I think
Okay,
more people would do that. We'll say
All
that.
right. Fair enough. Dan, for you?
I was going to go with Victoria Sponge as well. Actually, I thought of that before you mentioned any of the answers. Again, just it's a classic, isn't it? So
Correct. Well done. 16% of the votes. Chocolate brownie got 12%. Lemon drizzle got 10%. Just in case you guys wanted to know this for your next pub quiz.
Lemon drizzle is amazing.
You've got it in the bag.
yeah. Oh yeah. I'll go lemon drizzle all day.
Yeah.
I'll be chocolate brownie guy, to be honest, but that's fine. All right. A bit of bake-off knowledge, I guess, in a way. A TV show, that is. So what icing is usually paired with carrot cake? So what icing is usually paired with carrot cake? Is it cream cheese, vanilla, or royal? Cream cheese, vanilla, or royal with your carrot cake, your icing.
Cream cheese.
Dan's going cream cheese.
I will go with vanilla.
I'm afraid Dan is correct. It is cream.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
Which is
God damn it.
For me, that's just a completely random thing to put on a cake. But I hate cream cheese, so I'm a texture thing. This will be another episode. Food. I hate weird textures. I can't do it. Sorry. But well done. What two colors? You should get this right, guys. Come on. What two colors is the alternate check pattern in the sponge of the Battenberg? So what are the two colors in that
pink and
check
yellow?
pattern?
Pink and
Is it pink and yellow, pink and orange, or pink and red? What are you saying, guys?
Pink
and yellow.
Congratulations! A stupid question. It's actually, even if you don't know cakes, it's quite obvious. I would say it's iconic from childhood for me, anyway.
Yeah.
And which fruit is the main ingredient of a banoffee pie? Toffee, coffee, or banana?
No. Which fruit?
Banana.
Banoffee pie. Oh shit! I put fruit in the title. Oh, Andy life, guys. No, ignore that I said fruit. Which is the main ingredient of banoffee pie? You did not hear the original thing. Okay, is it toffee, coffee, or banana? What do you think? Dan is saying coffee. Am I correct? Give it to Darren. The point.
Go on then. I'll I'm gonna say coffee for that one.
You donate a point. That's so kind.
So I'm really not worthy, am I? You've got to give me the points now.
We have a charity point given out, and I've got to deal with the embarrassment. RSD live. No. This is why I think I should potentially go over the dyslexic assessment. No.
What's the main ingredient in a bowl of strawberries?
Cornflakes. No, I've been quiz mastering for 10 years. I don't make these kind of errors. So this is a big moment. This is a special moment for us all to enjoy. It's rare. You've seen something very special. That's me trying to process the embarrassment. See, very special. Positive spins. Well done, guys. That was fantastic. I'll update all the scores. And if you have any ideas for some cool quizzes, it has to be based on your special interest. If they sound like you love, and you can provide me the questions. So say you're into Dungeons and Dragons, for example, your special interest. Send me some questions for it. That'd be so cool. So yeah, get involved, guys. Get involved. Same way as you would with the questions as well. Amazing. Let's wrap up, guys. So Darren, where can we find you online?
You can find me on TikTok at me and ADHD Podcast, and on Instagram me.and.ADHD.podcast. Bit of a mouthful there. Yes, so I am basically on those two, and season 4 will be coming soon. We'll start recording soon. So awesome. Happy days.
Go and check out the links below, guys. Follow him, support him. I'll be so grateful for you doing that. So Dan, where can we check you out? And let us know about your TikTok lives as well.
So on TikTok, I'm mainly on TikTok. It's ADHD Dan, which
T-shirt wrapping.
I don't know if it's mirrored for you guys. I just realised it's mirrored.
Yeah,
No, that's good. That looks good.
So yeah, ADHD Dan. It's actually ADHD Dan _. But if you just type in ADHD Dan on TikTok, you will find me. I post content, basically not gatekeeping anything about autism and ADHD, putting it all out there, all my experiences, calling you out on your autism and ADHD as well. A lot of people don't realise that they've got certain traits. And I host live sessions called the ND Drop-In. I do that a few times a week in the evenings, usually weekday evenings, typically Monday to Thursday, but sort of a bit more of an ad hoc basis at the moment. And yeah, we answer questions about neurodivergence. We talk about autism, ADHD. Anyone's got any questions they want to ask? People use it for body doubling, so you can come in, put the headphones on, and get on with other tasks. Some people just lurk in the comments and don't really interact, which is absolutely fine as well. People just want to gather that information, and it's a place that anyone's welcome. We have some people that are neurotypical that come in and ask questions about neurodivergence so that they can better understand their partner or their children or friends, co-workers, which is beautiful. So yeah, that's what I do in the evenings. We usually start around 8:30 in the evenings, Monday to Thursday. And I'm on Instagram as well, but don't really post as much on there. But I'm trying to get back onto putting a bit more on Instagram as well. So those are my two channels.
Amazing stuff. Put links in the show notes. They're fantastic. Go and check them out, guys. Really supportive community. I'm sure you'll get a lot out of it. So go and check it out. So thank you for listening. And in our next episode, we will return with Alice and Philippa for a spotlight episode. So we'll pick out a topic you've sent us and we will dive in. And there'll be more quiz shenanigans on there as well too. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you in our next episode. Thank you to everyone listening. We really hope these podcast episodes help you. And thank you so much to all of those that send us the questions. You can do that via DMs on our social media channels, or send an email over to us at ndandfree@gmail.com. This podcast is in partnership with the following wonderful companies, services, and those who support those with neurodivergence. For neurodivergent assessments, visit boldmindsnd.com to explore Alice's services. For therapy for NDers, visit flourish-counselling.co.uk to see how Philippa can help you. To train as an ADHD coach with a fully accredited training course, visit barrettcoachingandtraining.com to find out how Esther and her team can help you.